Hey friends! How is everyone doing? I hope you've all had a really good week this week. I personally am getting over the flu. I've already gotten through the worst of it, so I'm just recovering now, but that's why my voice is a little hoarse right now. So I'm sorry about that. Hopefully you can forgive me. So next weekend I will be going to Comic-Con in Birmingham, Alabama. This will be the third year, I believe, that I've gone there. So I thought it'd be cool to do a video about some of the prep work I do before I go to a convention. Maybe some of you who do Artist Alley stuff or are hoping to do Artist Alley stuff might find this useful. So here we go. One of the first things I prepare is an inventory list slash item prep list. They're kind of two separate lists, and I'll explain. So first, let's talk about the item prep list. There's some items that require some prep other than just packing them into a suitcase. I make a lot of my items myself. I print off a lot of my own prints. I make my own buttons, make my own stickers, and that requires some time to actually do that kind of stuff. Like for the stickers, I cut them out all by myself. Each one is hand cut. And for buttons, I have to cut those out too and assemble them with the button maker. And that all requires time. So I kind of make myself a mini schedule of what I need to get done each day the week before the convention. It might be something where like Monday I'll print off poster size prints and print off the stickers, and then Tuesday I'll print off normal size prints, and while those are printing off I'll cut out the stickers, and Wednesday blah blah blah. You kind of get the idea. And it's good to kind of plan that stuff out because I used to not do that, and then I realized that I had a lot more work that I needed to get done than I actually had time for. So even though it's like, making a schedule for this kind of thing, it's really small, it really helps to have it anyways, just so I know how I need to plan my week to get everything done that I need to get done. And this kind of leads into my overall inventory list. This is very, very important. If you do Artist Alley stuff, you need to have an inventory list of some kind. So an inventory list for me, it lists out all the products, all the different kinds of products I have, and how much I have of each one. I usually separate it by category. So if I have buttons, I'll have a section just for buttons, and I'll list out each of the designs for buttons. And then I'll also list out the price next to each category of item too. And then the next column I have the total number of product I'm bringing with me. And then I have a column for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You don't really need to have this column. I do it just for my own bookkeeping. Basically, in those columns, I count how much inventory I have at the end of the day, and I put it in those columns. So if I start off with 3 alien buttons, beginning of Friday, at the end of Friday, I would count how many alien buttons I have, and whatever I have left over, I'll put in the Friday column. So if I sold 1 button that day, I would put 2 in that column. And I would do that for Saturday, and I would do that for Sunday. Like I said, you don't really need to do this. I actually haven't been able to use this as much lately because it requires you having to be able to do inventory every single night at the Artist Alley, and sometimes that's just not feasible. And then the last column I have is the actual amount of money I made. So if I sold 2 alien buttons and they were $2 each, in this column it would be $4 because that's how much I made in total off of that. If you're gonna have an inventory sheet, all you really need to have is that each item listed out, how many of each item that you have, how many that you have at the end of the weekend, and what you made off of that. And at the bottom of the spreadsheet I have it so that there's a running total of everything. Include fields like taxed, and here you can have it so it tells you how much you made after tax, depending on what state you're in. All the stuff I'm talking about today, a lot of the document-based stuff, I'm gonna leave in the description a example version that you can kind of use if you want. I mean, there's a lot of better versions out there. This is just what works for me, but there's a lot more organized ones out there than these. These are just kind of, if you need like a, you know, first timer artist alley, something really simple to look at kind of thing, then maybe this would be good. Next, I make myself a checklist of items for the table setup. So anything that doesn't have to do with products. This includes like tablecloth, the structure that I use to build my setup. In my case, I use wire, squares, signage, price list and the signs for that, business cards or social media card, all that stuff I would make a list of to be sure that I remembered to pack them with me. There's also a lot of little miscellaneous things that you might not consider that you need, but then, oh yeah, I do need it, like pens, stickers, like blank stickers, in case you need to cover up something, like something sold out or something, tape, pins for if you got charms that you have to hang up, you need to have like thumbtacks or something to hang it up with, stuff like that. Lots of different things. I'll also include a link in the description that has a checklist that I use for when I'm packing up my table structure stuff. The next thing to make sure that you have is money stuff. You need to have some kind of way to store your money for the convention, whether it's a money box or a purse or something. You have something that's going to house all your money. I personally don't like having money boxes. They're just not easy to store for me, and it's like super obvious money's in there and someone could just like kind of take it, just grab it. I prefer something that's more attached to my body. I personally use a purse, but I'm really hoping that I can switch to more like a is it called a fanny pack? It's not really the ones I mean that hold around your waist. There's like some that like go across the shoulder like a seat belt, right? And I think those are probably the best bet. It's close to your body, so it's less likely that's going to get stolen. Unfortunately, it's kind of been an issue lately where there's been a lot of thefts in artist alleys, and so you want to be able to have an eye on your money at all times. So I really recommend getting something that is attached to you, and make sure that you bring change. Especially on the first day of convention, people usually have like 20s and whatnot, and they're looking to break them. And I definitely have had a couple of times where I've been unable to make change. So make sure you have a good amount of singles, fives, and tens and whatnot, and keep a count of how much you started out with, just so you can subtract it in the end. Also, you greatly boost sales at your table if you have some sort of a card reader. I have a square reader that I use, or I first got many years ago, and it still works really well for me. I'm not really sure how it's handled now, but when I got it, it was like free to get, but they just charge you per transaction. That's how they make their money back. Like I said, I got mine years and years ago, so maybe it's a little bit different now, and they probably look much different now too. I really recommend getting some sort of a card reader. There's a lot of times where people want to have something, but they just don't have the cash on them, and they'll pay with card instead. And lastly, travel essentials. You need to make sure that you have all the things you need for travel. Gas money, have your hotel address and confirmations, any convention packets. A lot of conventions will send a artist alley packet, and they are very useful to have. They may list things like loading dock areas, hours, policies, where to get your badge, things like that. And then in addition to that, grabbing toiletries, your clothes, your computer if you're bringing it with you, and any charger like phone chargers, computer chargers. It really sucks to not have a phone charger, especially if you use your phone for credit card transactions. Like, I use a card reader, it's attached to my phone, and so if my phone is dead, that means I can't accept any transactions using a card, so definitely need to have a phone charger. So that's just about it. There may be better ways to keep track of these things and prepare, but this is how I do it personally, and it's been working for me so far, but I'm always looking for ways to improve. So if you have any ideas that you would like to share too, not just with me, but with whoever else might be watching this video, please leave a comment. And like I said, in the description there'll be a link to all the checklists and examples of documents that I would keep and that you can look at and download for yourself and use if you need it. If you're in the Birmingham, Alabama area, please consider coming out to Comic-Con. I would love to meet you guys. I'm pretty sure I will be 100% better by then. Like I said, I'm at the tail end of my flu. I'm pretty much just in the recovery phase. And so yeah, I look forward to seeing whoever I see there. And to everyone else, until next time, love you guys. Have a great day.